In the past year, we've helped over 250 clothing brands, adding more than 10 million in extra revenue. And we achieved this through top-notch website optimization, smart ad strategies, and powerful email marketing. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Christian Pignon, and my business partner is Aaron Pearson. And we release 2 new videos every single week. Aaron dives deep into marketing strategies while I focus on mastering Shopify and perfecting your brand's design. Now, a great theme can really set the stage for your brand and enhance the shopping experience for your customers. So that's why it's very important to select a theme that resonates with your audience and has the right features to convert them. And guess what? Shopify releases new themes all the time. And I know we kind of a lot of times get stuck into what's the best theme for me or what's the best theme for clothing stores. But today I actually have 4 amazing newish themes. I will say newish because we haven't really talked about a lot of new themes lately, and I wanted to give you just a little glimpse of some of these new themes. Now, let me also tell you, I want to give you the lowdown, right, of each of these themes. But on top of that, I also want to make sure that you understand that new themes do have, some nuances here and there. So to some extent, you're taking sort of a leap of faith here. But I'm gonna share with you a couple of things to keep you at bay and keep you at ease, right, with your decision on this theme. And I always like to say, selecting a theme is not something that, it's gonna make or break your business to some extent, but at the same time, there's people who are absolutely crushing it by just using the Dawn theme, right? At the end of the day, it's a very minimalistic theme, but if you have the right audience and you have the right product, none of the fluff really matters here. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started with our first new theme, called Polyform by Smart Base. Now, they say that it's more geared towards European customer base. So I tried looking in the back end to see, is there a difference, the European and US? There's really not. But I think at the end of the day, what really attracted me to Polyform was just again, it has a sense of minimalism. So if you're coming from Dawn to this, there's not really going to be a huge jump in terms of features, but it's a subtleness, right, to the theme that truly makes it good and unique. Now, this one runs you $290 and it's made, like I said, by Smart Base. It's something that you can very quickly tell, right, if a theme is somewhat new to the theme store. Just look at the version number. This one's version 1.0.1. So they've made at least one upgrade, right, to the initial version 1.0. And one of the reasons why a lot of people tend to sort of not want to do a new theme is because they probably potentially, right, haven't necessarily worked out some of their kinks, right? There may be some errors, there may be some things that they still need to work through to make it really polished. But the good thing about it is that Shopify allows you to try the theme, to install it in the back end and see how they've built things around, see what sections are available and all that. So we're gonna show you that in the back end here. Something else that I like to do too is I like to look at the support and documentation and then see the update details. I like to see what they've added, what they've fixed recently, and everything like that. So if you don't even have anything in terms of release notes here in the back end, it's a brand new theme, I would probably just wait a little bit, right, till they have maybe a couple of versions here so that you can actually go in and be a little bit more confident, right, about buying something for $290. Something else that I like to do and see, and we'll get better, throughout this video on some of these themes. I've started with kind of like the bottom one, and we'll kind of get to the top, my top pick out of the 4 that we've selected today. Something else that I like to see is the developer. So Smart Base, have they done any other themes in the past, right? If they have done other themes in the past, then I feel a little bit more confident in that they have worked through some of the bugs and the errors and things like that with their other themes, right? And this one just, they introduced a new theme to maybe introduce new features, to introduce new things, and they've already sort of worked out everything in the end. Now, Smart Base is brand new to the theme store, so this is their first theme. Obviously, they've been doing this for a long time, so they're a full agency and they do a lot of other things besides just Shopify. So this is just sort of like an added benefit, right, to all the customers that they already have. Now, let's go ahead and see how this theme looks in the back end. So one of the bad things about installing the theme trial is that you have to technically go in and add your fonts, add your colors, add your images. Otherwise, you're gonna see this it just kind of looks like a nothing thing. It's just like okay, this doesn't look very good and very nice. But you kind of have to look past this right now and truly just click on some of these sections, see the amount of flexibility that you have from some of these sections, and then kind of go from there. So for example, we have our hero banner here. This hero banner, we have color options, very limited, subheading, heading, not really a whole lot of settings there. Button, click on a new window, that's nice. To hide the button, if we hide the button and we still keep the link, is the whole thing clickable? It doesn't look like it. So little things like that are gonna be some of the things that you want to test out, right, when you install the theme trial. You're not paying for anything here. All you're doing really is just navigating and trying to find out, you know, is this good, is this bad, how do we navigate through this, etc. Something else that I like to do is I like to click on Add Section and then just scroll all the way to the bottom, make sure that I see all the sections. So we have about 27 sections, which is pretty typical. I mean, 25 to 30 sections is kind of like the normal. Anything beyond 30, when you get to the 35s, I think one of our favorite themes is Stiletto. They have about 40 sections. The more sections, the more flexibility, the more features that you'll have built in, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you need all these things, right? So don't get discouraged if you see something like a 27 or something like that. It's still going to have all the necessary things that you need in order to move people through the homepage, collection, product page, and to check out on your store. Like I said, Polyform, for me, it's a brand new entry. It looks nice, it's elegant, it's beautiful, but I think at the end of the day, it just lacks a few things. I mean, we just looked at that hero banner, not being able to click on the whole thing, like that's definitely a -1 there for them. Something else that I didn't like about it was the colors. So this is something that I want you to look into if you're exploring maybe some other themes. Shopify recently, within the last year or two, they've added color schemes, which is a new, better way to handle colors all around your website. And if we go here into the theme settings, we'll see a few more additional things that you can change on your site. You want to click on colors. So for this particular theme, all we have is like these individual color selectors for color accents and backgrounds and color text, etc., which is good. This is still very flexible at the end of the day, but it's not the best thing that you can have, and I will show you that here in a second. I also want to show you just kind of how this looks with just the demo store that they have. So you can kind of see what I saw initially, right? Looking at it on the theme trial is a little bit hard, but you kind of get that dainty sort of, I don't know, smaller text, elegance. You get these subtle animations, right? As some of the things are loading throughout the site. You start to kind of get an idea, right? For some of the things that you can do here on the theme. And again, just kind of looking at the subtle animations, clicking on things, like this is all just things that I would do, right? And that I do whenever I'm looking for a new theme for one of our clients. So that was Polyform. Now let's get to another one that it's also kind of new, or a new player, I would say, in the theme store, and that is Noblesse. This is made by Vivo Themes. It runs you $310. This one, to me, is very unique. And that's what really caught my attention. It's really unique in how they're placing things, the animations, the text, how they're using the headlines all throughout the homepage. It's very, very unique. Now, again, drawback to this is literally V1. This is like the very first version of this theme. So they haven't done anything to this theme. They just released it and this is it. Like it's brand new. So keep that in mind, okay? Let me just show you the demo store right away so you can kind of get a sense for how cool and unique this looks. At a glance, we have this menu, which it looks very different from any other menu, and it could be even a little bit confusing for some customers, so we'll just kind of leave it at that. But again, if what your customers care for and what you care for as a brand is to truly stand out from the rest, I mean, look at this menu navigation. This is like something completely different than what we see on some of these other themes. We have swimwear, cover-ups, dresses, clothing, bestsellers. We also have some kind of scrolling banner here with some probably best-selling products or new arrivals. And then on the right-hand side, we still have customer accounts. We have Facebook and Instagram links right here. Again, you can scroll down and see the rest of the navigation items, but this is truly something very, very unique. And your customers are probably not used to something like this, but if you have maybe a younger demographic, something like this would be just amazing. All right, we keep scrolling here. We have this sort of text roundy thing. I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of moving as we scroll. We have these gallery right here. So at a glance, you can kind of showcase videos or even photos in kind of like a style, like Instagram stories, if you will, where you can kind of quickly see those. And the ones that have the video have the little play button, automatically plays when you open. So it's just a different way, right, to showcase your products here. But as you can see, like, look at this collection's kind of the background there. We have a banner section there with multiple images. You see things kind of sort of coalescing together. We have video. We have a shop to look. Follow us. If you see that follow us, it kind of just hides behind that section there. So again, just a very beautiful, but at the same time, it's sort of like the complete opposite of the Dawn theme, right? The Dawn is very minimal, very sort of basic, you know, you got your navigation, that's it. Like versus this has a lot of different animations, a lot of different things, and they do things differently. So if that's what your brand stands for, of being different, of being sort of the underdog, like then something like this is definitely going to be good for your brand. Now, looking here into the back end of the brand, something that caught my attention here too was they have a whole notifications group. So not a whole lot of themes have these notification group right here. And it kind of scared me for a little bit because I thought this was like the main area. So I clicked on add section. I was like, there's no way this theme only has 3 sections that I can add here. And then I noticed like that's a notifications group. So you can do toasts. Toasts are going to be this sort of this little drop downs or these little boxes that show up over here, versus modals are going to be big ones that kind of cover your screen or the center of your screen, if you will. So you have an option to, if you're running some sort of promotion or something like that, you can very quickly do a sort of pop-up or what they call a toast, which just kind of comes in the corner and kind of stays over there until you actually close it. But very, very interesting. Again, not a whole lot of themes doing something like this, but these are the types of details that you want to look into when you're installing these theme trials, if you will. Theme settings. This is, I did want to show you this because this is going to be different than the one that we saw previously. So if we click on color sections, you'll see the schemes. So we have 7 schemes set up in here, and we can even add more to this. So just to kind of give you an example of what a scheme looks like, you click on the scheme and then you get all the primary buttons, the text, the background. So you kind of get the basics of it, and you can attach the scheme to different sections. So very quickly you can kind of tell like, okay, yeah, I have a lot more flexibility, right, on a section by section basis, because I can technically create a color scheme for each individual section if I wanted to. So again, more powerful than the previous theme that we saw, and the rest of the themes that we'll talk about today will have these color schemes installed in the back end. Now the beauty about this one too is like it also gives you some individual elements on top of just having the color schemes. So it gives you a little bit more granular selection, and you will probably see that where yes, you can do the color schemes, but at the end of the day, there may be an actual, I don't know, maybe some kind of section that you click on that it won't have the color scheme. Maybe you'll have some individual elements that you'll want to maybe adjust the color. At the end of the day, you can also just use a little bit of custom CSS, right? If you know how to write code, to just target a very specific button that maybe you want a different color for that particular section. Something I like about Noblesse too is they also do color swatches. This is something that you'll definitely want to look into in the back end, because you don't want to depend on a third-party app to do something as simple as color swatches. But to me, I think color swatches are absolutely crucial for clothing stores. So making sure that they support color swatches, it's going to be really, really good. And then on top of that, this one in particular gives you the option to do an uploaded image. So that's kind of going the next step. It's not just color swatches and figuring out the hex code. You can also upload your own image. So if you have some kind of pattern, you can do that right here. Now, not all themes support this. So again, that's what I want you to install the theme trial and really look into how these things actually work in the back end. Hey, if you're liking this video so far, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now, our third theme here is called Release, and this one's by DigiFist. It runs you $380. Now, good thing about DigiFist, this is the first one out of the 4 that we're going to share with you today that actually has multiple themes in the store. So they have Mojave and they have Sahara, both great themes. So they've been here, they've done the thing, now they're introducing a new theme. So you should feel a little bit more confident. You can always just, from the theme page, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see for this one in particular, it has more themes by this developer. So you have Sahara, you have Mojave listed right here. Another great thing is like they've done another extra release, right? They have that 1.1. They've added new features, they made improvements, they made fixes. So they've already done a whole lot of things right here, just very quickly looking at that. Now, let's look at the demo store. And this just, it's just chef's kiss, right? This just looks so, so nice. Something that really, really caught my attention, and something that I just like in general, is the ability to do multiple fonts within the same headline or paragraph. So you can see like crafting style with it's a sans serif font, and then you have this italics that has a completely different font that's being used for that. So again, it just adds a little different dimension to the brand overall, and it just makes it look a little bit more unique overall. So again, as you can see, you can start scrolling and start seeing things like this, for example, like images in between the text. Like you don't see that a whole lot, right? That text feature that we just talked about, something that you don't see a whole lot. Video section, collections, shop the look. blog, we have a compare, before and after, reviews, footer. Footer looks beautiful too. Now let me show you the back end on the trial version. As you can see, we have some of the same features, some of the same things that we've seen before here. Lots of different sections just sort of built in already, so you can kind of get a better understanding of all the things that are available. In terms of sections, I believe, yeah, this one has 30, so it's a little bit more than some of the other ones that we've seen so far. Something else that I really like about this theme is the cart. The cart, I think they do a good job of having some additional extra features in it, right? This is something that we haven't seen so far, but as you can see here, if you have some sort of free shipping threshold, like, you know, free shipping on orders over 100 or 150, this theme has a built-in feature where it automatically tracks how much they have in the cart, and it gives them that notification of like, hey, you need to spend a little bit more to reach free shipping, or if you've reached that threshold, then congratulations, you have free shipping. So those things are going to be important. That's something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but here under settings, you'll click on cart and you'll see you have the notification settings, you have the threshold right here, you have some additional information that you can do, also upselling products. So there's a lot of different features that you have here. This is something that I also want you to look into. But all right, coming up next, we have Copenhagen by Apparent Collective. This one's going to run you $320. Now, this one is a little bit classy, minimalistic vibe to it. Let's go into the actual demo store here. The good thing about Apparent Collective is that they have also a couple of themes in the back end, but as you can see very quickly, you start to get a feel for it, right? Right when you first log in and put in the demo store, you'll see that we have also the pop-ups here, or what do the other theme call them? The toasts here on the corner, which right now is just being used for a sale promotion they have going on. So we can actually click on close on that. But you can see the subtle animations here and there. You know what this reminds me of is something like a Prestige. So if you're familiar with Prestige, this is kind of like that. It kind of gives me that vibe, right, of Prestige. But I think a little bit more modern. Obviously they're using, I think, better fonts. So the fonts always just make or break the website and how it actually looks. But I really enjoyed looking over this theme. Something kind of unique to them is this light versus dark option, which there's some themes that are doing this nowadays, where it also can match the user's device. So if this laptop right now, if it has the sort of dark mode turned on, the website would automatically turn into that dark mode version. So it's actually kind of cool, but again, not super necessary, but definitely a cool feature. Now let's look into the back end to see how this looks. Completely different, obviously, right? When we first loaded in, it just looks so different. It looks very blank, very whatever. So, but again, you kind of have to look past that and start just kind of prodding around and clicking on some of these things and seeing the options that you have, right? So for example, for the slideshow, we can do images, we can also do videos that are part of it. So if video, for example, is something big for your brand where you have a lot of videos, then looking at all these sections and making sure that anywhere that you have the option to do a picture, you could potentially do a video. That's something huge that you definitely want to look into the back end here. In terms of sections that we have available, we have 28 different sections. So again, kind of running a little bit, maybe higher into how many sections are available. Obviously with the colors, we have the color schemes, which is the most up-to-date version on how to do that. And then on top of that, we have what they call color scheme, which is that light to dark, or use the user's system preference, which is that first option that we have here at the very top. Again, something that you don't necessarily have to have, but just a nice to have. They do have the option to do the color swatches right here in the backend settings as well. Now, something I noticed and I don't like about Copenhagen right now is I don't have the ability to do a mobile versus a desktop version of potentially like a hero banner, if you will. So having the video option is nice, but I think more important than that, having a mobile version versus a desktop version of that same image is going to be something very important. Sure, you can always add that, as a custom code option in the back end. You have to pay someone to, kind of build that for you. But if that's something that's, built in within the theme, that's one of those things that I absolutely love to have included in here. Something else that we haven't really touched on the other themes, but I want to make sure that I mention it, is make sure that you go to the product page. Make sure that you go to the product page and that you look around on how they do different things here, because the product page is going to be the most important page of your website, right? Besides the homepage, the product page is going to be that most important page. So I would also, just as we're doing the add section on the homepage, I would go here to your product information block and then click on add block. This will also give you a few options. So right now we have 9 different blocks that we can add to our product information area. So we can do SKUs, we can do about, we can do a pop-up, we can do pickup availability, complementary products. So all these things are going to be important, all additional features that you may not need them right away, or you may not know how to work them right now, but these are all great things to have in the back end. So if there's something that you want to do, click on the sections on the homepage, come here to the product page, click on Ad Block, and see what options you have available there for you. There you have it, 4 new themes released, Nobly's, Copenhagen, and Polyform. All good themes that I encourage you to check them out. Do the theme trial. We're not affiliated, but definitely worth checking out. Now, if you're like, hey, I'm not really interested in these new themes that you're offering right now. I wanted the top of the top, what you recommend as some of the best clothing store themes out there, then you want to check out this video instead.